Hi, and welcome to episode number 33 of Letters from Paradise. The more I've seen what the heart of God is like, I know how I want my heart to be. God has the biggest heart in the universe. It used to be so easy to categorize people, make a few judgments, and carry on with my life with people just like me. But what about people who aren't like me? People I figured I had very good reasons, including a bunch of reasons from the Bible, to exclude from my box. God started moving my heart and mind in the years Suzanne and I were befriended by several Muslim families when we lived in Fiji. And every now and again, the Lord teaches me some more and moves my heart forward. It's something Jesus was up to with the people, particularly the Jews of his day. The Samaritans occupied territory once part of Israel. When the 10 tribes of Israel were carried into captivity, the king of Assyria sent people from other nations to inhabit Samaria, and these foreigners intermarried with the Israelite populations. The Samaritans, therefore, embraced a culture that was a mixture of Judaism and the worship of idols. Furthermore, the Samaritans built their own temple, insisting it was designated by Moses as the place where the nation should worship. So the Jews regarded the Samaritans as the worst of the human race and had no dealings with them. Firstly, the Samaritans were racially different from the Jews. Secondly, they were religiously abhorrent to the Jews. Thirdly, they didn't have the same moral, sexual boundaries as the Jews. And number 4, the Samaritans had displaced 2 of Israel's tribes from their inheritance. And then 3 Samaritan stories weave themselves into the story of Jesus. Jesus was confronting Samariophobia. To begin with, Jesus tells a parable about a traveller who was severely beaten by thieves and left for dead. Guess who the hero of that story is? A Samaritan. The parable was told to a Jew who felt uncomfortable when Jesus spoke of loving your neighbour as yourself. So the Jew had asked, "Who is my neighbour?" Big mistake there, because geographically it was the Samaritans. So Jesus is saying, love the one you hate the most. Soon after this, Jesus heals 10 lepers, but only one of them returns and thanks him. Luke records the story, and he especially notes the thankful leper was a Samaritan. But we're not told the nationalities of the other lepers, just this one, who the Jews despised. Why tell us he's a Samaritan? To tell us the people we despise the most have hearts that beat just like ours. The third story is the one we know about the woman at the well. Jesus does something the Jews wouldn't do: travel through Samaria. His conversation with the woman was neither harsh or alienating. Instead, it was including and without condemnation. And this woman was to become a woman of great influence, through whom many came to experience the living water of love and grace from its very source. Whilst watching a television episode of Lost and Found, I realized this is God. This is the story of all stories, being played out one family at a time. The God story of reconciliation. I realized there could be an episode of Lost and Found of a family that got split up when half of them were dragged off as slaves by a foreign army. Then those who remained intermarried with people of foreign cultures and eventually became a different people of mixed blood, a new religion and a new ID, Samaritans. When the members of that family finally returned from their captivity, instead of seeking to find and embrace the relatives they had been separated from, they saw their difference and despised them. This went on for generations until just one member of that divided family was able to think differently, because he knew the Heavenly Father was not a bit like the sin-conscious, judgment-threatening God the rest of his family believed. Just one member of the family crossed the gaping prejudice of 1,000 years. Jesus sat down at a well and told a broken lady about the generosity of God. Our Abba has the biggest heart in the universe. Shalom.